Stacy with Okie Cruising, and today I want to go over some must-have documents to get you on your very first cruise. Now, there are two different types of cruises that we're going to talk about, and I want to go over the documents needed for both. Let's start with a closed-loop cruise. A closed-loop cruise just means that you are leaving and returning to the same U.S. port. Now, you may be asking why that matters. And with a closed-loop cruise, you're able to cruise with a birth certificate and a government-issued photo ID. Now, if you are on a repositioning cruise or an international cruise, those are the ones that's going to require you to have the passport no matter what. I want to take a few minutes and really dive into cruising with a valid birth certificate. When I say valid, I'm referring to a state-issued birth certificate, not the hospital copy, not the copy with your footprint on it. Most cruise lines are going to require an original or a certified copy with the embossed seal on it. There is an exception to that. Carnival will allow a photocopy of the birth certificate, but it does have to show all four corners and show that it has been unaltered. Along with the birth certificate, any traveler 16 and up is going to need a government-issued photo ID. Some examples of acceptable IDs is a driver's license, permit, school ID, military ID, or a state-issue ID card. Kids under 15 would be able to just cruise with their birth certificate. Now, one issue you may run into if you're cruising with a birth certificate and government-issued ID, I know for women it's more common, is if your ID and your birth certificate does not match. If that's the case, you'll need to bring additional documentation, such as marriage license, divorce decrees, adoption paperwork, if that's the case, to show why there's a difference in the names. The other option you have, and something that I strongly recommend, is traveling with a passport book or a passport card. Not only is this helpful if you need to get back to the U.S. from a port of call, but it also helps speed up check-in and getting through customs on disembarkation. If you're just cruising occasionally and you're just going to be going to, like Mexico, Cozumel, Mahogany Bay, something like that, the passport card is great and it's a very affordable option. Now, if you're going to be doing the international cruises or repositioning cruises where a passport book is required, the thing that I like about it is, yes, the passport is expensive up front, but you have that passport for 10 years. So if cruising is something that you're going to love doing like we do, I recommend getting that book because it does help speed up everything and you can get on a cruise, whether it is a closed loop cruise, repositioning, international, and not have to worry about it. While we're on the subject of passports, let's go ahead and talk about what exactly is required for the international and repositioning cruises. Both of those are going to require the passport book, as the passport card will not work, as it only allows entry into Canada, Mexico, and the Caribbean, and Bermuda by land and sea. It's not valid for international travel. One thing I do like to bring up when traveling with a passport is to go ahead and check your expiration date. A general rule of thumb is you want to make sure that your passport is valid for 6 months after you return to the US. The next thing that I want to bring up, and it's something that most people don't think about, is if they're traveling with kids. I know sometimes grandma and grandpa like to take their grandkids on a cruise and maybe mom and dad can't come, or your kids' friends decide that they're going with you. And so one thing that I always like to bring up in documents that you need to have is if you are traveling with a kid that is not yours, or if only one parent is able to take the kid on the cruise, it is recommended to have a notarized letter giving you permission to take the kids on a cruise. The letter needs to include that you are authorized to take the kids from port to port, that you are able to say yes to medical treatment, and that you're able to say yes to the onboard activities. The next thing that I think is important when gathering up your documentations for your first cruise in addition to your passport and your birth certificate and photo ID, you'll want to make sure that you print out your boarding passes and your luggage tags and bring them with you to port. You'll be able to print those out once you've completed your online check-in. I normally keep all of our documents in folders, either something like this or even something smaller that is easier to pack. And then as far as the luggage tags, I do recommend getting the luggage tags. You can get them on Amazon. They're luggage tags holders. They are secure, and it's just going to help in once you're into port. If not, you are able to print off your luggage tags and either tape or staple them to your luggage. Some other important documents that I recommend printing out or saving to your phone in addition to your boarding passes and the documents that you need to get on the cruise is any additional reservations and confirmation numbers, whether it's for your specialty dining reservations, your excursions, or even your pre-cruise hotel and parking. It's always nice to have those additional documents with you. On the same hand, if you're flying into port, make sure you have all of the flight info and tickets ready to go as well. And the last thing that I like to make sure that we have with us is our travel insurance documents. If you book your travel insurance through the cruise line, then they're going to have all of that information for you. However, if you book through a third party, it is recommended that you take that policy documents with you just in case. We personally never cruise without a travel insurance policy because you never know when something may happen. As always, you can check with your cruise line just to see if there's any additional documents that they may require. And if you enjoyed this video, give us a like, thumbs up, and be sure to follow us to stay up to date on additional cruise content and upcoming ship tours as well.